Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Warcraft News. Patch 8.2.5 is coming on Tuesday, and we have extremely interesting information regarding the performance of World of Warcraft Classic. Of course, yesterday we just put up the most recent episode of our complete history of World of Warcraft series, so be sure to check that episode out. It is a really good one. I mean, old school Alterac Valley. It's really, really cool. And if you'd like to support the work that we are doing, you can check out our Patreon, where for $25 a month, you will get a thing full of goodies sent to you in the mail. And this month is Druid Month.
Amazing.
So that's all quite lovely, but let's get into the news. So today we're diving into the numbers driven by World of Warcraft Classic's success. And while the Twitch numbers and the server queues, they've been nice to see, they certainly have indicated that things have been going well. Well, what we're going to cover today is our first hard data, and from it we'll see the success of Classic. We'll be able to speculate about World of Warcraft subscriber numbers and general health, and be able to further analyze the World of Warcraft business model and where it's going to be going in the near future. Now, this report comes from analytics firm Superdata, who have most recently published their monthly report. Now, this is just a summary. The actual reports are extremely expensive to get a hold of, and of course, they're NDA'd to help. But
holy fuck, they're like $1,000. Holy goddamn, dude.
Thankfully, the highlights do actually cover all the data that we're going to need for the purposes of today's video.
World of Warcraft West,
so they track the top revenue by game across PC, console, and mobile on a monthly basis. Now, World of Warcraft West ranked 7th in their June report, but it dropped off in July. Now, their August report, the most recent one, that puts World of Warcraft West at rank 3, with them reporting that the game has experienced a 223% growth in subscription revenue, but the total revenues are still below the launch of Battle for Azeroth. And there's actually a lot that we can learn from this, and we're going to start off the analysis by diving into World of Warcraft subscriptions.
Holy fucking
Blizzard, as we know, stopped reporting subscriber numbers in Warlords of Draenor. I think with them seemingly, well, just seeing it as a bit of a lightning rod, a kind of validation for those who are critical of the game, but also, and I do think correctly in financial terms, them seeing it as not being a great indicator of overall revenue. Now, I do...
Well, it's not, right? I mean, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. The fact is that Blizzard cares a lot about having their whole fucking, you know, their microtransactions and everything like that, you know? Like, that's what they're all about. You know, they don't want their whales, okay? They want their super whales. Whales are 2018. This is 2019. We're only going for the super whales.
Think that's for the worst, but it is the case that World of Warcraft revenue is significantly, well, it's heavily driven by additional purchases past the subscription fee, and that is something that was noted in the post-Battle for Azeroth Activision Blizzard earnings call, where they noted the expansion saw strong participation in value-added services. So you really can't tell.
That means people bought store mounts. You spit on those motherfuckers because they're ruining the goddamn game. Like, these fucking idiots keep buying store mounts. Oh, wow, I can't wait for Blizzard to bring out something else with my money so I can pay for it again. Oh, boy, wow. Ooh, I love you, Blizzard. And, you know, tweeting at them, oh, yeah, I can't wait to buy this. Oh, I don't have any money, but I am not very good at spending my money and managing money, so I'm going to buy another mount. It's kind of why I don't have money in the first place, but, you know, hey, we're gonna get them out, oh boy! You know, and like, you just look at their fucking face, dude, it's like a human version of a bug, you know? And it's like their eyes are popping out of their fucking head the moment they start turning on the fucking advertisement for buying a $25 mount, man. It's like these guys get more excited over a fucking mount than a normal person would get over winning the lottery. Like, it's honestly, like, you just look at these people, pay someone to waste my time on it, please let me pay more. Well, I'm sorry, man. Like, but I fucking hate that shit. I really, really do. Like, I love Blizzard, I do, but like, this is something they need to stop doing. Like, these store mounts and like microtransactions and stuff like this, they need to stop doing it. And I know they're not going to, and I'm not going to stop complaining about it either, right? I mean, it's not good for the game, and it's like, imagine having a subscription-based game that's a massively multiplayer game, and then shifting your focus away from how many people are playing the game. It just seems ridiculous. I mean, it just seems ridiculous.
a major part of the arithmetic that they're doing. Now, Battle for Azeroth actually set a sales record for the franchise, with Blizzard boasting their 3.4 million sales by day one. However, it's worth noting that many, perhaps most of those, were actually pre-orders. Now, this was driven, of course, by the instant level boost and the access to Battle for Azeroth's Allied Race feature, plus the leveling revamp of patch 7.3.5 that went along with it. Unfortunately, we actually have no idea how many subscribers this 3.4 million by launch day sales actually indicated, or, equated to, but we do know that Warlords of Draenor sold 3.3 million units at its launch, and it spiked just north of 10 million subscribers.
Wow.
And it also, while it did have a cool trailer, didn't have Illidan. And on that, Illidan, through the Legion expansion, sold 3.3 million units, actually 100k less than Warlords of Draenor's launch, but still tremendously successful. And
I think a lot of people are real more excited about WoD than Legion. Like, I remember whenever Legion was coming out, I was like, okay. Alright, it's like after WoD, it's like, let's see what these fucking dipshits have cooked up this time. Yeah, we'll see what they're gonna... Yeah, alright, we'll give this one another fucking try. Why not? I got nothing else to play anyway. Who gives a fuck? And like, that's what it is. I think that's why, like, WoD was like, Mr. Pandaria wasn't ideal, but it was kind of good, right? It was fun. And, WoD comes out, they're like, wow, we're going back to Burning Crusade. And, I can see why Legion wouldn't sell as much as WoD did.
Again, with Legion, we don't know how many subs there were at launch. The 10.1 million number that was floating around for a bit there, that existed, but Blizzard denied it, with it widely being believed that the source interview was either misunderstood or mistranslated. Now, I do think it's safe to assume that Battle for Azeroth started off with nearly 10 million subscribers, but I think the real story here is how many of those people actually stuck around. So, to that goal, in October of 2018, we attempted to get a better handle on this by looking at the total number of level 111 plus characters across EU and NA realms. Of course, knowing that a 111 plus character would be owned by an active Battle for Azeroth player. So we polled our audience to find the average number of characters per person, getting a number of 3.79. Running the maths, it gave us 1.21 million active endgame players across EU and NA servers.
They took the amount of 110s and then they divided it by the amount of average players they got from this survey, right? Which is obviously, like, let's be real, okay? Let's get this out of the way. Obviously, this is not exact. Obviously, this is a guess. But I think the numbers and the methodology does make sense.
However, it's worth remembering that because they're engaged with sort of World of Warcraft meta content, our audience will be more engaged than the average WoW audience.
Yeah, I think so
if the
too.
average was maybe 2 level 111 plus characters per player by October, then we'd be more like 2.3 million active endgame players of World of Warcraft. Now add in China and Korea plus non-endgame players, and you likely are looking at between 4 and 6 million retained players, though it really is quite hard to tell. What is relevant to us, though, is that the super data numbers are for World of Warcraft West, so that's where the 223% increase in subscription revenue actually happened. So how many subscribers will have stuck around to patch 8.2? Well, that bit is actually quite hard to tell, though many will have stuck around only on a technicality because they will have purchased the 6th month subscription promo back for the Dreadwake. Now,
I never thought the 6-month thing, like... The only issue I have with the 6-month thing, probably the biggest issue I have with it, is the same issue that I have with pre-orders. Is that whenever you have a pre-order, you have a situation where the people that are fucking pre-order, that are selling the game, now have their sales secured for that period of time. So I think that it serves as a disincentive, or not as much of an incentive, to provide a good product because they've already secured a sale on the product. So I don't really know exactly if this is a good thing or not, but I think it's probably a better thing for Blizzard than not doing it. I just wish they wouldn't bundle it with a mount because I think that it devalues things in the game.
Patch 8.2 was received positively, so it likely did bring many people back, leading to an increase in subscription revenue for the month of June. Now also note that Super Data is not tracking subscribers, it's tracking subscription revenue, and this is key. This is really important because Blizzard launched another 6-month mount promo on the 27th of June 2019.
How convenient.
This will have led to higher than normal June and July subscription revenues due to Blizzard getting 6 months worth of money from people up front, driving up their average revenue per subscriber for those 2 months.
Yep.
Now, that's particularly relevant because the 223% increase is over July.
Yep.
That is a month that will have been bolstered by the launch of the raid and the ongoing 6-month subscription incentive. And what this actually means is quite impressive, as the subscription revenue per player for August, I expect, will have been significantly lower, because I imagine most of the classic players will just have been purchasing a single month for $15, rather than, say, their modern game counterparts who were maybe signing up to big 6-month bundles in the month previous with
the big 6-month bundles for the big old super whales, you know, like, and it's like, if WoW, I think that Blizzard actually should have offered like 6-month things for people playing classic WoW, because you're gonna have so many people that come back with rose-tinted goggles and they're like, oh my god, I can't wait to play the game. And you know, like that they did. Well, I didn't really see it. I don't think it was advertised enough, right? Because like, and they're gonna think it's gonna be great, and then they start playing in like a month and a half into it. I think I did, but I don't. Oh man, okay, I'm done. And you know, Blizzard still got you for 4 more fucking months. And the best part about that, right, is that it actually might even be good for the player, is because they might be, oh man, I'm going back to Fortnite, and they go over to Fortnite, there's some fucking kid that's 12 years old, he's hopped up on fucking Monster energy drinks, Adderall, and fucking some sort of other cocaine, some kind of bullshit, and this kid's building towers in 5 seconds, and you know, he's going crazy, and he's like, you know, I play, they're like, oh man, fuck that shit, dude, and they just get their ass beat, and like, I'm going back to WoW. And you know, if they have the sub, they're more likely to go and do it, because there's like a sunk cost fallacy going on in their fucking head. And so it's actually probably better if they do that. And so I don't know why they didn't focus and prioritize that more
anymore, just being on a rolling 3-month subscription. Now, this change in average subscription revenue per player, that does actually make it essentially impossible to accurately predict World of Warcraft subscriber numbers. But if we were to assume identical subscription revenue per subscriber, and that maybe 8.2 had like 2.5 million Western subscriptions, then Classic would have over doubled the game's Western subscription base up to 5.575 million. However,
it says 8.2. He fucked up because he said doubled it, so it'd be 8.2 million. If WoW Classic brought back 5 million people, I would be very surprised. All right, I mean, let's be real. That seems like that's a big number. Okay, like let's say that right now. That is a big number. Now, do I think that subs were as low as 2 million people? No, I don't think so. I think it was probably more like 4 or 5 maybe. Like probably a little bit more than that. The fact is, like, if you go and you look at like the retail servers, a lot of the servers are being shown as full, and I think that's because a lot of people are probably playing BFA a lot, you know. And I think people want to have an excuse to play WoW all day, and the issue is that Blizzard just hasn't been giving them that excuse. Like, they want to spend all day playing the game. That's what they want to do. Well, no, it's not a cap at all. What do you mean that's a cap? No, don't say no. Don't fucking say no. Holy sh... The drinks, like, they fell down a little bit. They're like this, and they fell down. And I just... I'm actually fucking, like, I'm worried somebody was, like, in my house. My dad came over and said, Zach, my refrigerator broke again. I need you to come over and fucking get ice for the refrigerator. I want to make sure that I want to keep my broccoli cold. It's like, fuck, all right, Dad. All right, you got to go get broccoli, you know. And, like, hopefully that, you know, hopefully that wasn't it. I turned around, man. It just the drinks fell down. That's all it was. Okay, let me start the video again. Sorry about that.
As I said before, I do believe that number is actually a good bit higher. I would not be surprised, indeed, if Classic took them closer to 8 million, because, you know, the average revenue per subscriber will have been lower because it's single month, but it's still got a 223% increase. Now, of course, this is not counting in China, where I assume Classic will have done quite well, given the game's pretty deep historical impact in that region. Now, revenue-wise, this is, of course, still a massive increase in subscription revenue, but it is less than Battle for Azeroth's launch. and that does make sense. That's not surprising. First, BFA cost $49.99 plus $14.99 for 1 month subscription. 3.4 million sales at $64.99 is a lot of money, $220 million. Plus, Activision Blizzard did note strong participation in value-added services relating to...
I hate it whenever they say that. Jimsy, thank you very much for 20 gifted community subs. I appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you, Jimsies. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. China has 61 servers, only 4 are PvE. Oh, I mean, they play the game differently over there.
BFA's early life. Now, that's not where the story ends, as Blizzard have very clearly timed their content releases to match up with Classic. So, and this really brings us into the 8.2.5 section of video and the broader analysis of World of Warcraft as a business. So, 8.2.5 is coming out tomorrow, and it will contain the final stage of the war campaign. While Classic came out on the 27th of August, 8.2.5 comes out on the 24th of September. So it's very clear that patch 8.2.5 has been timed in order to keep those 1 month Classic subscriptions from lapsing.
That's good. That's good. Like, this is what Blizzard should be doing. They need to basically get people that are playing Classic to play BFA, right? And get people that are playing BFA to play Classic. Because if you can get people fucking addicted to 2 games, they're half as likely to quit, right? You want to get them addicted to 2 fucking games. And no, that's the thing, is that like, there's going to be a lot of people, I know this might upset you guys, trigger you guys, that there's going to be a lot of people that they play Classic and they're like, okay, I'll play BFA. There's been people that have messaged me and they've even said, you know what? I played Classic and it made me like BFA more. And it's like, great, that's awesome. You're still playing the game. You're still part of the community. Like, I wish that you guys realize this, right? There's some people in here who feel like this is like, it's like the between the Horde and Alliance. It's like, maybe Blizzard has spent so long conditioning players to be in a faction war that they're not able to just set aside their differences and work for the greater good of the game. You know, in the same way that the Horde and Alliance have to work for the greater good of Azeroth. You've got the fucking Horde, which is WoW Classic, and the Alliance, which is BFA. And, you know, you put these 2 guys together and so you can do something really good. But they're pitted against each other all the time, and there's no reason for that. There's no reason to pit them against each other. It doesn't make any sense.
Even more clear when you look at the changes that Blizzard are implementing with the war campaign in Battle for Azeroth, where they're essentially removing all reputation requirements, allowing fresh players to play through the whole thing pretty much in 1 sitting. Now,
they're obviously doing that for WoW Classic. Like, they're obviously doing that for Classic players. They're like, oh wow, retail come out with a new thing. Man, I haven't played that shit in years. Let me go on, log on. Right? If they log on, they can't do any of the fucking quests or like the stuff for the game. Like, yeah, they're probably not going to like it. So I think it's obviously really smart they're doing that.
Given the headlines that they likely aim to generate with Tuesday's content drop, I think their plan here is pretty darn clear. Now, this will especially be the case if they leave the Tuesday content drop on a bit of a cliffhanger, with the rest of the war campaign releasing over the coming weeks. And given how that's something that they have done with every other stage of the war campaign so far, I think it stands to reason that that plan will continue. Now, also take into account that they've been running a 40% sale on Battle for Azeroth, and I think it's very clear that they are trying to both retain as many subscribers as is possible and get these new Classic players over into Battle for Azeroth. That really will be one of their largest goals as a business, because Battle for Azeroth is a significantly more deeply monetized product than Classic is.
The worst part about that is they could literally just do it because they want the game to be good. Then they want the game to be like fucking healthy, you know? But you know, they're just probably thinking about this shit like, oh yeah, now we do this and, you know, it's going to get more people fucking, you know, addicted and shit to the game. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, we want to have them addicted to the game, and in that way they're buying all the store mounts. Everybody's buying all the store mounts. Ooh, let's get those store mounts. Major whales? What is beyond a super whale? Like, because like that, I'm thinking in terms of 2020. What's Blizzard gonna go after in 2020? A giga whale, omega whales. I like, yeah, omega whales. Yeah, that's even better. And those are people that spend $1,000 a month or more on fucking WoW.
So, how do they plan to keep the momentum going past that? Well, they haven't said yet, but Phase 2 of Classic is going to bring Zuragos, Kazakh, and Dire Maul. And I do believe that will release pretty darn soon. There's also going to be BlizzCon, and I predict that Blizzard will also do a live stream to reveal patch 8.3 at some point in October, similar to how they did patch 8.2. And I think that would pave the way for an expansion announcement in November. Now, once November is over with, they'll of course have patch 8.3 coming out, most likely in January, and then they'll probably have, Phase 2, either released or very close to being released at that stage, with Phase 3 of Classic probably rolling out in Q1 or Q2 of next year, along with, of course, the beta test for 9.0. As you can see here, this is going to result in a very vibrant World of Warcraft news cycle, and this is especially the case as the current game is targeting players emotionally through the use of fan-favorite characters, or at the very least with Sylvanas, characters who have proven themselves time and time again to be pretty significant audience draws. So
I'm gonna be honest, like, if I hear about Sylvanas again, I'm like, oh, I want to hear about, Sarfang, like, who else do I even give a fuck about? I want to hear about Gen Greymane. I like him. He seems interesting. And he's like one of the only, in my opinion, interesting characters in the story, right? Yeah, I like Gen. Yeah, I'm a furry. Let's see, Thrall. Yeah, I want to see Thrall, but I want to see Thrall as like the badass war chief he was in Warcraft 3. I want to see Thrall as this fucking, 42-year-old dad that's, he just wears fucking, I don't know, bleached jeans or something. I don't want to see that.
So, overall, I do believe that Battle for Azeroth's second half will be significantly better than its first half, but I do think it will retain many of the fundamental gameplay issues that have hurt the expansion, and I think it will continue the rather divisive storytelling that has characterized the expansion thus far. While it's not a complete recipe for success, I do think it's going to be a strong one for engagement that will be backed up by the game, probably being a lot better. I mean, if 8.3 continues the positive trends of 8.2, I actually think it would be a very good patch indeed that probably would be worth playing.
He's right. 8.2 was good. For what it was, it did not make the game, it did not fix the game, but I think that it made the game better. 8.2, if you're gonna, like, who here is gonna say that 8.2 made BFA worse? I don't know. I really think that if you say that, you're a fucking moron. There is no way, man. Post stories, images on Instagram soon? Yeah, at some point, man. Let me see here. Pogus Champ is donated $5 a second. Popular World of Warcraft massively multiplayer online role-playing game has now exceeded 12 million players. Developer Blizzard announced today. The milestone was reached today after recent launch of the game's second expansion, Wrath of the Lich King. I don't think that really happened until, like, ICC, though, honestly. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like it was somewhere around ICC. Okay, let me go ahead and I'll read the, I'll go to the rest of the video.
Like how I think 8.2, pretty much was worth playing and was full of really good stuff.
I agree.
Now, add on top of that Classics engagement, and I think World of Warcraft is in for a rather atypical but strong period of performance. Now, the most important factor here will be 9.0, as its reception will either prove or disprove World of Warcraft's TikTok trend, with, Mists of Pandaria being great, WoD being bad, Legion being great, Battle for Azeroth being bad. If that trend continues, then, 9.0 would be good, and Blizzard would find themselves with, we could say, Legion-like performance. Now, if that's Legion-like performance with BFA-like monetization...
It is TikTok-like performance because it's being catered towards 8-year-olds. But anyway, I think that's basically what's happened, right? I mean, let's be real. Pretty much what's been happening is that you have the good expansion, then you have the bad one. And then you have the good one, then you have the bad one. Now, we've gone through BFA. I think half of BFA sucked. If 8.3 comes out and it's good, BFA will be not saved, but I'll consider it fine. Fine. It'll be fine. Okay? Won't be good. It'll be salvaged. Yeah, I'm not going to say saved. It will be fine.
That's going to be a lot of money, and they'll also have Classic doing quite well. And as skeptical as one may be towards Classic's long-term retention, it is true that things like gearing just do take a long time in Classic, and while it certainly will have a dip in players, I do think that events like Anchorage and Naxxramas will be large audience draws. As for the long term of Classic, I believe that BlizzCon 2020 will have Blizzard reveal their longer-term plans. Now, personally, I've been hoping and long advocating for an old-school RuneScape-like model where the game's development would actually continue with its original spirit being the guiding force there, so we would see new WoW Classic content. I think the TBC and Wrath servers would be fine, of course, but I think that past their release, they'd mostly be a dead end as far as the business model goes. And I think when Blizzard look at what they've got here, they look at the audience that they've captured, I've got to suspect that they'd rather have themselves running two highly profitable MMORPGs that have a solid content plan, long-term viability, and a strong cross-promotional element. So there you go. That's what I think about the 8.2.5 release date, and also the analysis of the recent Super Data report. Combine this with, I think, what we're going to see at BlizzCon 2019. And, I mean, I do think Blizzard actually, I do think that Activision Blizzard's probably going to be going in a good direction. Now, I say that in terms of its stock price, not necessarily in terms of the quality of its games and the respectfulness of their business models towards.
Okay, so what he's saying is that they're going to make more money, but the games are still going to have a bunch of microtransactions. I think that everybody knows that's true. The fact is that, like, yeah, of course that's going to be the case. But I do think that Blizzard, if they wanted to develop WoW Classic kind of as a parallel to current WoW, I'd be okay with that. I think that'd be really cool. But I just worry that somehow they'd fuck it up along the way. And hopefully that's not what happens, but I think that it would be. Okay, it's a bad idea. Bellular wants it, and it's good. You agree? Well, no. If you think I'm banning you, you're stupid. Okay, I didn't say that. I've always said that I wanted WoW Classic. I did. Okay, yeah, you're stupid. Like that's not what I said at all. What I said before, right, is that I would like to see Classic WoW. Here is my official stance on Classic Plus versus Burning Crusade. The realist in me wants Burning Crusade. The optimist in me wants Classic Plus. That's how I feel. I don't really care about seeing Wrath servers, personally. It's not particularly important to me. But that's how I feel. So, do I want Classic Plus? Yes, I do. But at the same time, I think Burning Crusade would be safer. And also, I feel like Classic Plus would run into a number of confusing elements, such as going through and dealing with issues like the Lich King or Burning Crusade or Illidan, for example, but not in Burning Crusade or not in Wrath of the Lich King. So, like, how would they do that? I don't know. I think it just depends.
Towards the players, but certainly if I was going to be throwing money into a game stock, I have a feeling that, well, I don't think they're as undervalued now. I think if you were buying stock before Classic, then, well, a good bit before Classic, then I think they would have been undervalued given their long-term trajectory. But if you consider Modern Warfare seemingly being quite good, and what I think Blizzard have got planned with Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, yeah, I think they maybe even still could have an undervalued stock. Now, that said, there is a lot to suggest that the Call of Duty Competitive League and that the Overwatch League are significantly overvalued, that they're not generating revenues in line with their, I believe, upwards of 20 million per team spot sales, sales.
They're not. You know why? Is because they're boring. Like, you have to play Overwatch to understand Overwatch. There's so much, like, Blizzard overcomplicates their games to the point to where they're not good esports, which is fine, but they're also not good esports. Like, and also, like, Overwatch, and Blizzard has this issue where, like, somehow the most boring meta always ends up being the best one. It's like, why is it not like having 5 Widowmakers? Like, having 5 Widowmakers, you can't have that. I think you only have one on a team, right? Or something like that. But you have 5 Widowmakers, and, like, this is fucking people sniping the shit out of each other, and it'd be fucking badass, right? But now you've got 5 tanks. All right, boys, let's go into this. Ho, 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 all right, let's go. And it's just fucking boring, man. It's just straight up fucking boring. Like, they need to have better, like, the comps are not diverse enough. You watch the WoW tournaments, and it's like every single, like, a lot of the comps are, you're seeing the same things over and over. MDI is even worse. It's just boring, right? You play ladder. I remember we were playing ladder one week in current WoW, right, for Arena. And we queued against, it was like a fire mage, a paladin, and, like, I think a rogue or something like that. And, like, we queued into that. We did, like, 25 games. We queued into that, like, 18 games out of 25. They're out of the 20. It was insane.
Prices for the, the team franchises. Yeah. So if that sort of esports angle to their business pops, I think that could lead to quite a large problem in terms of what the markets perceive. A lot of the esports money, I think that's hedged on very, very lofty expectations of growth. And if that is not achieved, then yeah, there's obviously going to be a bit of a problem there. But anyway, that's basically my thoughts here. And I suppose if you are interested in more of the business analysis stuff, do check out our second channel. Like, we release 5 to 7 videos there a week, sometimes even more, and you probably would enjoy that quite a bit. But anyway, that is it for this video. Of course, if you want to support what our team is doing, you can check out the Patreon, and then also the complete history of World of Warcraft, which we just put a new episode up for yesterday. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.
Okay. Anyway, let's see here. Really, bro? What do you mean, really? Like, I'm confused here. What do you mean by that? Here's a question. So it's clear from the beta, BGs are done. Can you explain why ever it would make sense to keep the PvP in Phase 3? So they can artificially extend the excitement about the game. Like, that's obviously why. I mean, like, let's be real.
It's me. It's your boy Asmongold. It's your boy Asmongold. What's up, y'all? It's me. It's your boy Asmongold. Asmongold. You can do the work, and then you can get the money for the work, and then give the money to me. Thank you, thank you. What is this dude doing with his money? I don't know, boys. I have 1,283 days/play. I never give up.